Did you know that Grafana can handle logs too? Not just metrics, dashboards, but actual logs. Collect them, store them, and query them. Do you remember with .NET Aspire? Everything was in one dashboard, out of the box. So here's the question. Can we get the same thing in Kubernetes? One dashboard for metrics, traces, and logs. The answer is yes. We've got already Prometheus feeding metrics into Grafana, and now we will add Loki for logs. Same dashboards, all your stuff in one place. Loki is a horizontally scalable, highly available, multi-tenant log aggregation system inspired by Prometheus. Loki differs from Prometheus by focusing on logs instead of metrics and collecting logs via push instead of pull. We want to only push once instead of pulling many times. So whenever there's data available in our system, we want to push it to the upstream. It will save us many round trips that the system needs to do or the tool needs to do, right? So it helps minimizing the cost. Loki is designed to be very cost effective and highly scalable, unlike other logging systems. Loki does not index the contents of the logs, but only indexes metadata about your logs as a set of labels for each log stream. It looks very promising. We have this diagram how it works. So we have applications which they are connected to some agent, and then to Grafana Loki and to Grafana. And let me maybe draw it on my own just in a second. But first, let me show you the difference between metrics and logs. So starting from the metrics, there is a K6 which is calling the API via HTTP and also is giving the metrics to Prometheus. Prometheus is the storage for metrics, for K6, for API, and also for database. So this is our central storage for all metrics, and then Grafana can visualize all matrices in Grafana. Let me show you how. Just like that, right? And then we can see all those beautiful dashboards and everything works. When it comes to logs, it's a little bit similar. So we also have K6, but it's not calling Loki anymore. It's calling with HTTP API. So we are running tests with K6, and an API and database has the connection with the Promtail. So the Promtail is the agent which is retrieving data from API, from the database, from the stream, and then all the logs which will retrieve from those sources, they are being pushed to Loki. And Loki is the storage for logs for Grafana. And then Grafana, with the connection, it can retrieve and show us the logs in the Grafana. So let me show you how it looks. So this is how it looks on the first glance. We have a lot of information here. So let me start from the basics. We can see here Catalog API, and this is what we are most interested in. We also have Loki, we have PG Badger. I'm playing with PG Badger. We also have Grafana, Promtail, Tempo, and a lot of different services. We also have pods. And this is what we would be the most interested in, the Postgres. So whenever I am investigating the performance of the Catalog API, I would be most interested in two things right now: Catalog API and Postgres. So, and thanks to that, I don't need to go manually to fetch the logs from Catalog API pod, nor from Postgres 0, right? I can directly from Grafana feed, I can directly access that. So let me go to Catalog API. We see 30,000 entries. That's quite a lot. And what most important is we see a couple of warnings, we see some traces, we see some errors, and that would what we are most interested in. We can also filter out fields. So each individual data we can include or exclude however we want to narrow down the amount of data. On the right, we can also have a couple of options. We can order by our logs, by all this, by the newest, search for logs versus I'm interested in some errors. And then I can include what I need. I can also filter levels. I'm interested in errors only. And I can see errors which are the same, but this is good. I can filter out by the level type. Then I can hide timestamps or display milliseconds or nanoseconds, all those sorts of different options. Enable wrapping, highlighting text. I don't see much difference. Oh yeah, I skipped this. The duplication, which means line which is next to each other is going to be just deduplicated. So we'll not have too many duplicated lines in here, right? Let's see. Let's set it to none. What else we have? Escaping lines. Not a lot of different. Not a lot of difference. So this is how it looks on the first glance. Let's go to labels. We don't have it here. Anything? Let's go to fields and patterns. And patterns are important. They are useful. So Loki can understand and and patterns are important in every tools like Loki or to patterns. And patterns are really powerful because it can break down and aggregate the same patterns of the text which is happening in our collection of data from our time range. So if we had, let's say, 3 months of data, probably we wouldn't be able to guess what is happening the most, the least, right? And get some informed decision about our data. Maybe some error is happening, or maybe some warning is happening and occurring many times, but it can be lost in tremendous amount of data. So it can be very useful, this kind of pattern. How many times it's happening in this given time range. Let's also quickly go to Postgres because we want also to take a look on the Postgres logs. So let me go to pod. And now for the PostgreSQL, like for Catalog API, we can see the logs, whatever has been reported by PostgreSQL. And maybe let's filter out things, maybe see some warnings. I can see there's some log is empty. And yeah, I can have a little bit. And lastly, how to even do this. So what I did, I went to data sources. And you can see data sources, which I configured in the past. For this one, I needed to configure Loki. You want to go in here, add new data source, click this Loki, and then configure it, right? This is how it has been configured. So the name Loki, URL, Loki on the 3100 port. And then whenever your configuration is correct, you can just click save and test. And that's what you should retrieve. Data source successfully connected. On my repository, you can actually check the YAMLs for Loki, for Grafana, how it's being set up, because it's publicly available and you can just use it. So to wrap it up, we explored Loki, Grafana Loki, how it's used, what can we do with it, and how we can set it up. And if you want to see more content like that, just let me know. And thank you, and see you next time.